expert session in our chapter, communication chapter. And next week, we will have a collaboration practice. But today, we will still talking about how to build proper communication. And I would happy to share with you our communication strategy, which you can find in our website. And maybe the most important thing which you can see here, you can see that it depends on your level, your interests, the level which you are ready to invest in this course. You can choose the better format, the better way how you communicate in this course. Please, if you have an interest, go deeper, read the case study, use checklist, ask us any questions which you would like to ask. We are very open and very happy to co-design with you the next version. And of course, this checklist is your daily use tool. Please welcome, implement it, and give us feedback. But one more thing which I would like to do us before we go deeper to the session, please follow the link which you can find now in a Zoom chat. It's a link to our informal networking special WhatsApp channel, where we do not discuss any professional questions. We use this channel just a talking, a chatting, and building our personal relation. And based on this personal relation, of course, we have very important outcome. We build our trust. Please welcome. It would not be very, often notify your chat, but this chat, actually, we focus on Friday, when we have more or less day when we can invest some time for networking, for knowing each other better. That's what we will do with this chat. Please welcome, do not hesitate, share any funny stickers, any thoughts. We are happy to co-develop this web chat with you. That's one of achievement, one of results which we have. Another result which I would like to illuminate for you today, it's in our challenge map. We update it week by week based on our breakout rooms discussion. That's a form for today's session. But you can see how week by week these map are growing. On the one side, as I've said, we add, based on your discussion, ways how to overcome certain challenges. And if you have any additions, please add your comments. But also, we analyze our Telegram discussions and collecting principles, tools, which we put there. And sometimes, as for example, this week, we collect not just ways how to overcome, but one more challenge. I will talk about this in a minute later. Feel free, comment, add. That's our common results, which we collaborate, co-create week by week. But let's back to the Telegram chat. I would like to say a few big thanks to people who invest a lot to our course. All of us know that rewards and recognition is very important part of collaboration, and we need to give it. And we're happy to say these things each week. And for people who are co-creating this course. For example, Barbara, who were the first sparrow who inspire us, proactive asking questions and taking knowledge. Thanks to Philip for his very deep reflection. It's a very, very good example for all of us. And yes, thanks Graza for rising up and starting very painful topic, but it's important how to build trust when leaders prefer control, not trust, but control others. And of course, thanks to all participants who are asking questions, like Manfred and Jan, summarizing the key ideas like Pavel, Vishal, Zvia, Sergey. Please continue to practice collaboration. And if we talk about collaboration, it's time to synchronize our understanding the subject. And Vadim, we are ready to follow you and go deeper to the definition. Vadim?
Thank you, Olga, for great opening. And what is collaboration? We ask this question every hour meeting. And you see it's necessary to show the logic. We go and the results of our previous weeks in certain synchronized next version, which we will do each next meeting. And we will show you naturally how we certain accumulate presentation of our definition we actually create together. And today we add 3 more. Olga shared it with from Cambridge University, from Cambridge Dictionary, from Oxford, and from Wikipedia, because everybody uses Wikipedia. So for us to be sure that we are on the right track, and what is our synthesized collaboration definition, you can read it yourself much better than I will read it myself. So, but we are on our way. So it means that we are very much close to the definition, our creative definition. So let's go further. Definition is right to have, and let's check what is our attitude or perception of this definition. Just put in Mentimeter. You can find it, the link in your chat, Zoom chat, and using QR code. Just let's check our objectives. We define the collaboration definition, but what is how it differentiated from the communication. Let's show each other. Sergey, you can share your screen if you don't mind. Great. It's always like a miracle. Common goals, teamwork. Teamwork, common goals, working together. Together, common goal creation, working together, teamwork. Thank you very much, everybody. Oh, wow, one more iteration. It seems together our number one keyword to use, and working together, common goals, transparency, together, teamwork. Thank you very much. I think we can do print screen for us. And transparency, which lead to trust, the topic of today is important. Thank you very much for this co-creation we just experienced. Let's go further. And Olga, would you mind to share the presentation again? And thank you everybody who contribute. It's great and always a miracle how we do it using Mentimeter.
And as usual, we will know the results of this episode on the next session.
Yeah, we will share. We will do it each month before the practice, so that we can enjoy how we change our perception of collaboration. Okay, let's go further and
great.
Each program.
1 minute about the current session, because today we will talk with Faiz. Thanks for this investment to the course. We will talk about trust. And last session, we talked about technical infrastructure and the ways how to use it for boosting communication and collaboration. And that's what we need to have for each scale, for person, for team, for community, and for ecosystem. The same situation with trust. We need to have trust on each level. And today we will talk in breakout rooms about set of principles and rules, how to catalyze and how to destroy trust. It's important to see what we have in our pocket. Of course, today we will collect the ideas how to build, keep, and scale trust. And you see, today we observed the tools for personal level and tools for each 4 levels. And we will see how to use it in a better way. And finally, how to measure that trust works for collaboration. Of course, first of all, we can see more diversity in our team, because even be others, we can be together and trust each other. Of course, it's absolutely higher, different level of energy and passion to combine as one. Of course, it's much more transparency. And of course, it's easier to have a shared purpose and aligned spirit. That's how trust influence through collaboration results. And before we start and move and listen to Faiz, we would like to add one more knowledge, one more important
Part
input
of our lessons.
Yeah, it's a culture part, of course. Yeah, Vadim, please.
Yeah.
Would you like to share your screen?
Yeah, yourself.
Okay.
So starting session number 6, which is today, we will add each session additional culture codes, culture principles, which will help us during our course experiencing this culture, improving our behavior forward to creating our mutual collaborative culture. And of course, it is the way for you. We recommend for you to follow when you develop collaboration culture in your projects, in your teams and communities. Today we will talk about feedbacks. So feedback culture is critical for potential and future collaborative culture development. So, and it's critical. It's based on proper communication, but it's a big step forward for the creating a strong collaborative culture. And let's go further. And we are happy to share a few tools. I believe most of you know most of these tools, but let's remind. We do love very much 5 fingers feedback, like what is well, what could be improved, what we should exclude, what we should keep, and what we should pay more attention to. So it's very easy. We use it million years, and we are so happy to use this very easy but very powerful feedback forms. Next slide. And 2 more very similar to each other, both feedback methods. And next slide is desk feedback methods. It's pretty about the same. How we can share this behavior, how we can explain to each other, how we can point or specify what we can improve or do differently, and what changes it will bring. So these 2 methods, both and desk, are pretty similar to each other, but we recommend you to use when you share feedbacks. And one more slide, 2 methods as well. I guess you practice it a lot, but we would like to stress that it's very easy but very powerful. First is very easy, maybe the easiest one. It's most simple. What, why? Just ask question, why and what. What they did and why it was good. And 5 from Toyota, you know the story, I believe very well, but some guys from another company says that maybe we should do it not 5 but 8 whys. No worries, let's do. But we should come to the root. So all these 5 chosen by us for you is very easy to use, and you could do it right now and initiate feedbacks. And let's see how we can do it within our course, because we have lots of ways to communicate. So let's start experiencing it from now. Olga?
Great, Vadim. Thanks for this advice and tips how we can improve our feedback process. And let's move to the main topic. Faiz, please welcome on stage and let's talk about trust deeper.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. And I was just about to type something online because I was like kind of triggered by what Vadim just shared about feedback. I know the whats and the whys, and interestingly, in certain cultures, right, asking why too many times can be considered offensive. But of course, it is how you do it. It's how you ask the why questions, because otherwise sometimes people keep asking why, and like, oh, I get scared about it. You know, it doesn't help with the trust building. But never mind. That aside, thank you everyone. Thank you, team, for letting me come in and share a bit on my views on trust. And I hope you enjoyed the short little clip. I was asked to do a short little clip on trust, and this is what I just gave. And I don't know how many of you saw it, but it was basically me talking about really on how trust, I think, is tangible. And some people ask me basically, what do you mean by tangible? And that basically tangible as in like, can you touch? Or of course, trust is something which you can't touch, but my counter argument is, but you can definitely feel it. And for me, feeling trust is as tangible as it gets. So okay, so this is just a big recap of previous sessions on communication. We talked about success factors, collaboration readiness, mind flags, and technologies for communication collaboration. And actually now we are looking at basically one of the elements of challenges that comes from collaboration, which is trust, right? Trust in communication. And that's where basically I shared a bit about basically on how trust has tax and dividends. So what do you mean by tax and dividends, right? Because when trust goes down, right, there'll be less speed and there'll be increased cost. Less speed in terms of how things are operating, and there'll be increased costs in terms of basically how long it takes, the amount of resources that you need to commit to things, right, to make things happen. However, so that becomes the trust tax, right? But when trust is good, is high, there's a lot of speed, things move quickly, right? Because there's no while there may be difference of opinions, but we trust that everyone is united towards a certain goal, and therefore the cost of doing things goes down, and therefore that you can create a trust dividend. And therefore trust is essential for collaboration, for communication. That's where I feel that trust has tangible value, and is something which we should pay attention in terms of how do we develop trust, whether internally or with someone else, or at the organization level, market level, society level, right? Maybe you guys have seen this before. My next slide is on 5 ways of trust, right? If you've heard of the 5 ways of trust, could you give me like a thumbs up or what inside thing? So basically, 5 ways of trust is it basically developed from Stephen Covey's book on speed of trust, right? Where you look at trust at different levels: self-trust, whether how much you trust yourself, right? Credibility and everything. Relationship trust, trust between two different individuals. Organization trust, which is how much trust you have for at the organization level. Market trust, how much the market trusts you. And society trust, societal trust, which how much society itself trusts you, right? And I'll take a bit of time just to explain a bit more. And the definition, yeah, you guys can read it. Reliance, character, ability, strength, and truth in someone, right? Okay. There's some noises. Is that okay, my voice? I just saw the comment. All okay? All right.
It's a Singapore wind.
Yeah, great.
Wind.
All right. Just remind me, if I'm talking too fast, just let me know. Singaporeans get excited. I get excited and I speak faster. All right. Okay, so first level is self-trust, and self-trust has basically 4 key elements or 4 core areas, and that's basically under integrity, intent, capabilities, as well as results, right? And integrity and intent is a basis of character, and capabilities and results basis or subset of competence, and therefore it looks at it as self-trust as basically 2 key items: the person's character and the person's competence. And that's where basically there is a test, and I will explain it to you a bit later on in terms of the tools for you to look at credibility, right? And how you assess your self-credibility, and later on credibility of an organization, which uses the same tool, right? So this is self-trust, the first level. The next level is, or next two levels is relationship trust and organizational trust. And again, I picked on Covey again. After Speed of Trust, he wrote a book on Trust and Inspire, right? For how great leaders unleash greatness in others, right? And this talks about certain mindsets that you have, right? In terms of believing people have greatness in them, looking at people as whole, as well as leadership as stewardship, right? And therefore, people's perceptions of their roles also shifts in terms of service above self-interest and so on, right? So and I talk about control. We spoke about it in the chat, right? It's about trust, building trust, believing that people have greatness in them, and helping them to unleash potential and not control. So that's where basically with trust, you are able to multiply, exponentially grow the capabilities of your team, right? Instead of being limited to your own abilities and your own time, right? And the next two levels of trust, so level 4, level 5, is market trust and societal trust. Frederick Laloux came up with this framework, the Teal organization, right? But he has this book, Reinventing Organizations. And in there, he says that there's different levels of organizations. And if you look at it, the green and the blue, right, it's really organizations which has stronger trust compared to basically the ones in red as well as yellow, where it's about power, fear, chaos, or hierarchy and controls, as compared to, for example, green, an organization which is green, which has strong market trust. It delights customers, has shared values, have engagement and stakeholder balance, right? And at the next level, societal trust, where basically you are trusted, you have a higher purpose, it's all about self-management and evolutionary. And so that's basically an example of how market trust and societal trust can be enabled. But of course, these are big frameworks, and I don't think we can cover it in the next few minutes or so. So next, what we are going to do, we're going to focus a bit more on your teams, your groups, right? What you do in your organizations, right? So next, what we are going to do, we're going to go to breakout rooms, right? Where we will do some discussions in terms of two key questions, because you only have 10 minutes for this. Discuss in your rooms what prevents or promotes trust at your workplace. And I gave some examples in the two boxes, right? What prevents trust is, for example, toxic colleagues that gossips behind other people's backs, right? Or what promotes is open professional sharing of lessons learned without negative implications, right? And we just want to share your thoughts on what you think are scenarios which prevents and promotes trust. And subsequently, then we'll go to the next activity where we'll talk a bit about the VOC, VOJ, and VOF. I will tell you later what it is. All right. That's it for me.
It's a teaser, Faiz, secret abbreviation.
Of course, of course.
Great. Dear colleagues, please copy Miro link, open it before you go to breakout rooms, and please enjoy your sharing, your discussion about trust, and please try to select the certain ideas which you can implement and use during this project in your teams. See you in 10 minutes. Thank you, Faiz, for us before this discussion. Please join your breakout rooms and enjoy the process. If we are confused with our action, do not hesitate to discuss about it, because sometimes it can be very funny, sometimes it can be the sign of some serious question. And thanks, Moria, for rising up this question, and we can illustrate how it works in the real life. Okay, Faiz, all of us in, recording is starting and we are ready to know what's next. Please turn on your mic.
All right, give me a minute. I'm just going through the the slides, and then yeah, I see some slides have shifted all the way around. Okay, so let me see how I can bring this together. Okay, so what was that activity all about, if you wonder, right? And I've seen that there's quite a lot of inputs. My group, breakout room 4, ours is the most colorful one. Yeah, I'm very proud, and we move our squares away. But the point of it is that the activity talks about different things that prevents or promotes trust in the workplace, and some of them, just going down to group 4 because I was just there. We talked a lot about, no, there was leadership, or we didn't talk, we just kept moving the stickers around. We talk about leadership, the hierarchies, the systems that promotes trust or prevents trust at the workplace, right? And but also there is also another mindset towards how do you look at trust, because trust, yes, there's structural, and there's also ways in which we as leaders or as individuals can actually create an environment where can promote trust in the workplace, or even prevent trust in the workplace. And that's where basically I'm going to share a bit about Theory U. For those who are familiar with it, Manfred, this is by Otto Schama, right? He talks about, okay, this is the absencing part. He talks about open mind, open heart, and open will, right? And basically the idea of open mind is someone that people need to be curious, people need to have compassion, and people need to have courage to make things happen, right? And trust actually happens when they are able to avoid the voice of judgment. This is I put it as orange, right, or yellow. And then there's also the voice of cynicism, right, that happens, that prevents trust from happening, right? And there's also the voice of fear, right? Hierarchy, the boss will scold you and everything. So a lot of the points that were shared earlier on actually covers these 3 points. And maybe you can just use this as an example, right? Okay, let me just copy this over so it's easier to bring around. And let's choose one group here. Okay, group 1. All right, so within the points here, now you look at it, fear of something. So that's obviously voice of fear. So this is something which needs to be overcome. Why? Because without it, right, people are not willing, or there's no will to change or things, right? There's also things of a voice of cynicism, where basically people are not embracing the idea and so on, right? Where we question things, we are like non-constructive, right? Or non-constructive criticism will be a bit more towards voice of judgment, right? Basically it's not open criticism, it's things which basically did not lead to better outcomes, but rather negative outcomes. And this is basically things which actually are negative. And if you look at back at Theory U, when you do have situations where basically people deny it, right? So the voice of judgment can people become close-minded. There's prejudice. People get close heart. Oh, there's rage and hate. There's fear, and then things don't happen. The collaboration doesn't happen, right? Collaboration happens when people have an open mind. They're more curious about things. Like, why do you say that? Even though things may not be the same as what you think it is, but you are able to suspend judgment, right? And see with fresh eyes. What I saw in group 4 was very interesting, because I was in group 4, right? Where people just mentioned, Tobias was saying, oh, I'm also moving. We were trying to arrange it. No? Barbara was moving things, and Tobias was also moving things, and prevent it. It's okay. No, this is my point of view. But if you have another idea, just shift it around. It's okay. That level of being open, seeing with fresh eyes, and that's important. That's the level of trust that we want to happen, right? Where basically people are open, they have an open mind towards this, right? The second point after open mind is basically open heart, right? Being compassionate, to avoid the voice of cynicism, right? Cynicism is when people go the second level of questioning, right? Instead of questioning the logic of things, you question the intent of things. And we did share about the a point of credibility is basically, one of it is intent, right? Whether the person's character intent is correct.
In a breakout room and come.
Oh, I got that. Okay, yeah. So it's the point of intent, right? So that's the part where you need to have an open heart and not being too cynical, not being a cynic towards things, right? And then people can actually sense and move and don't be not just judge by being a cynic towards, oh, this points is mainly trying to push a certain agenda, has certain ideas and so on, right? And so that's the next part of it, to have an open heart. The last part is about open will, right? The voice of fear, right? How do you avoid it? How do people let people be able to let go and then let it come and then move it along? And this is the part where, if I go back to group one, all right, you talk about the fear of something, right? Fear of losing job, right? But in actual fact, right, if you are able to overcome that fear of losing a job, yes, maybe eventually it will have to be a structural thingy. The leaders will also have to look at how to create an environment where there's less voice of judgment, there is less cynicism, and then there's less fear, because these are all things which, well, usually a result of an excessively controlled environment. Or if you look at Frederick Laloux's framework of reinventing organizations, is the RAID organization, where it's all about control and structure, right? But with that, you are not able to reach a level where there is trust at the next level. So self-trust maybe yes, but the relationship trust will not happen. Organizational trust will not happen. Neither will market trust, even more so societal trust, because they know that organization works in a certain way, right? So that's kind of how I see things, where basically for trust to enable collaboration, right, you need to create an environment where you are able to avoid the voice of judgment, you're able to avoid the voice of cynicism, and avoid the voice of fear in every individual. So create an environment where basically there's psychological safety for everyone to perform, for everyone to do their best, because everyone is focused on a greater good, like a teal organization where it's very purposeful, it's looking at the bigger picture instead of your own self outcomes, right? So that's the gist of it. And if I could just jump off to group two, maybe the other groups, if you want, you can just take in the points and then to see which other points do you think related to voice of judgment, voice of cynicism, and voice of fear, right? So for group two, okay, where is this? All right, things moved around. Okay, all right. Voice of judgment, voice, okay. So lack of purpose, not enough feedback from managers. Maybe there's a bit more cynicism here, right? Voice of judgment, visibility, misunderstanding, together, and then withholding information, voice, maybe fear, I don't know, right? Yeah, independent work, silent working knowledge, no openness, collaboration tools, good relationship. That means there's no voice of judgment, fear, silent working, no support. Okay, so the point of it is basically there is many ways that we can see it, and that it affects at different levels, right? And that basically this idea of the theory U, right, where basically we need to create an environment where there's open mind, open heart, and open will in order for trust to happen. And so how do we do this, right? Okay, can you see my next slide? Right, my Adobe robot. All right, so going back to the tools of it, right? The 5 ways of trust. So how do you do it, right? And then this is the key points. First wave, self-trust. The key principle that you look at is credibility, and then the desired outcomes is how to create credibility for the individual, for themselves, because of their judgment, their influence, right? Whereas for the second wave relationship, trust is about consistent behavior, the key principle, and the outcomes are increased ability to generate trust. And you notice that for each wave, I did share a bit more about the principle as well as the tools that you can use, right, for each wave of trust. And then I will take a few minutes just to share a bit more in terms of what is the tools that you can use. Okay, for 4 cores of credibility, the tool that you have, is credibility self-assessment, right? So basically, as I shared earlier, there's 4 core questions or 4 core elements: integrity, intent, capabilities, and results. And this can be applied not just for the individual, but also for organization, right? And this tool to be used to basically assess your level of your assessment of your integrity, your assessment of your intent, capabilities, and results. And having this baseline figure or this kind of rating, right, allows you to basically look at action plans, improvement action plans, and also to develop an accountability partner. And this is a tool which I think can be used to help to assess the trust level of the individual as well as the organization, and then build up to the next level. The other tool that I'm sharing is the 13 behaviors of high trust leaders. And these behaviors are over here. And basically it covers two key elements, character competence and character plus competence. Simple behaviors, right? Things like talk straight, right? Be honest, tell the truth, tell people, to let people know where you stand, or demonstrate respect, right? In terms of caring for others, show it, and so on. Creating transparency, right, wrong, show loyalty. This is, yes, it's motherhood. It seems like something which, yeah, I do that too. Everyone does that, right? But sometimes you kind of forget, right? And it's something which you have to remind yourself, to see whether am I doing that more, right? One way to check is basically ask yourself, within the past 1 week, right? What values or which behaviors of high trust leader have I demonstrated, right? And if you are unable to identify any one of them in the past 1 week within 1 minute or so, right, means you're not conscious of it. You're not consciously doing it, right? Because it's not something which you automatically, oh, I must talk straight, or I must deliver results. And this is something which you consciously try to develop in your character and competence. So these are two simple tools which I thought was very relevant in terms of building ways of trust. And it can not just be used by itself, right, but also used together, right? So for example, market trust as well as societal trust. So the 4 cores of credibility can be used to internally assess where are we, right, in terms of the 4 core credibility. And then subsequently, how do we behave externally, right, using the 13 behaviors to communicate to the market, to communicate to community, in terms of basically to build that trust. And then the principle for market trust is basically your brand, your reputation, right? Outcomes is people will buy a product from you or invest time in the organization. Whereas for societal trust, the key principle is about your contribution and responsibility to community, which is very big nowadays with the whole idea of social impact as well as sustainability, right? And the desired outcomes is people see you as a global citizen role. So we have support from the customers, workers, and stakeholders. And so, put it simply, the 5 ways of trust, I look at it as an opportunity for you to look at trust as a key element, and how do we make sure that we have the correct basis of it, and how do we communicate it externally with others, right? And so my key conclusion or takeaways for this is basically that trust has real tangible value, right, which can be earned and lost, right? And it is essential for collaboration, and therefore we should find ways to avoid voice of judgment, voice of cynicism, voice of fear. And some things which I thought could be good takeaways for everyone here is that to kind of look at the credibility self-assessment and create an improvement action plan, right? It can be for yourself again, or for the organization, for self-trust, or for organization trust. And then also look at 1 or 2 behaviors of high trust leaders that you wish to implement at your workplace for yourself, or to share with others. And then maybe you can share a reflection in the Telegram chat, and then we continue the conversation, because I'm always very wary that I tend to try to throw in too much content or too much ideas, but sometimes in the conversation that ensues following that, that's something where we can learn a bit more, and also maybe potentially be able to take it away and apply to where we are back at work. All right, Olga. Yeah.
Faiz, you are the number 1 in the nominations that quickest delivery knowledge. Thank you so much for your observation how to manage with trust, and thanks especially for commenting and connecting the breakout rooms results and the knowledge which you share with us. Maybe now it's time to share any questions if we have it. And also, of course, it's time to collect and to think about key takeaways which we got today. And today we ask you, before you start to write something via chat, just take a minute and think what was the most powerful for you? What was the most resonated idea for you? And just, we keep silence this minute, we're just thinking, and only after that, please put what do you really want to say, what do you really think is important for you, is valuable for you, and you would like to share it with us. 1 minute for thinking, for reflection, and after that, sharing your thoughts. Please, welcome. And of course, any questions, welcome, put it via Zoom chat. Great. We start to share our findings. And please, now we have enough time and space for you. Please read each other, comment each other, just reaction, or maybe react and develop some ideas. Please invest your time now to read your colleague's answer. And Faiz, I think if you will comment from your side, it would be great. Anna, thanks for your comments that you see the dynamic between session by session and the dynamic which you see in your group, and you see how it grows week by week. That's important. That's way how it's naturally growing. Great. And as usual, it's too short. Yes, we understand. Next session, dear colleagues, you will have much more time for practicing. And again, please look in our communication strategy. Of course, we cannot, we have a limited of time in our session. That's why we spread the opportunity for collaboration outside of the session. And of course, we would like to talk more, and it's good. It's good signpost. Self-development, I think that it's one of the key findings for all of us today. Great, and just 30 seconds for commenting each other. And after that, I would like to ask Vadim final interaction practice activity for today to realize.
If I could jump in a bit.
Of course, Faiz, please.
Okay, so I did see some very great insights in terms of trust about waves and basically voice of fears and different voices that goes in your heads, right? But I also noted that there was a request to have more emphasis on tools and methods to foster trust, right, within an organization. I think that's something which we can work with the course team to actually offer you a bit more information about the tools and methods, right, to foster trust in the organization. Post session where they will put out some more content on the Google Sites thing. So we work on that, and then to make sure that you get those insights as well.
Great, thanks, Faiz. Okay, very good discussion. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Vadim, we have 3.5 minutes for final practice. Please welcome. Please turn on your mic.
With mic, it will be even easier. So
exactly.
Let's share feedbacks. Let's practice it. Let's experience feedback culture. And the question is, what advice would you give to others, to everybody else in this great team? What we should start sharing feedback with? Any step, rule, tool, activity. Text your number 1 to others. What will be happy for us? Will be easier for us to start implement our feedback culture. Just one, anything, whatever step, rule. Again, Zoom chat is the best channel to share. What is your, how we can catalyze our feedbacks? Yes, and we have 1.5 minutes, Olga, for that. And Olga, Faiz, you are very welcome to comment if you'd like. Critics prevents trust. Great. Less critics, more hacks. I got this idea. Share feedbacks on a timely manner. Great advice, Jamara. Thank you very much. Listen. The best advice ever. Thank you, Philippe. Great advice. Listen. Listen and open mind, even better. Thank you very much for this. Honest feedback. Honest feedback will drive more feedbacks. Great. Great. We have good first steps to do. Let's listen to each other more. Olga.
Thank you so much. As usual, we will be happy to hear your feedback and improvements to this course. See you next week in a practice session. And please communicate via our channels. Ask any questions. We are open and happy to co-create our set of knowledge, how to manage, how to boost our collaboration project together. Thank you so much. Have a good morning, day, and evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
We're just about to reply to Jean.
Bye.